Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's story is one of the creepiest yet, the abandoned Asylum tour. A group of students goes on a field trip that quickly turns into their worst nightmare, and trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end for the chilling twist. Before we jump in, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss our scariest stories. And don't forget to share this one with your friends. It's one they won't want to miss. Now, let's get started. It was supposed to be a typical high school field trip, an educational outing to break up the monotony of the classroom. A group of students boards the bus, chatting, laughing, excited about a day away from school. They're headed to an old abandoned asylum just outside town, a place shrouded in mystery and rumors of haunting. The asylum had been closed down years ago, following reports of malpractice, patient abuse, and unexplained disappearances. But today, it was a historical site, a way to learn about medical practices of the past. At least, that's what the students were told. As the bus pulls up to the towering gates of the asylum, the mood shifts. The once vibrant chatter fades as the students take in the sight before them. The building looms large, its windows shattered, ivy crawling up the decaying stone walls. The place feels wrong, like it's been waiting, dormant, for far too long. A man greets them at the entrance. He introduces himself as their tour guide, a tall, thin figure with unnaturally pale skin and a voice that is too calm, too controlled. There's something unsettling about the way he moves, the way his eyes seem to linger a little too long on each student. But it's easy to brush off. After all, this is just a tour, a chance to learn about history, right? As the tour begins, the guide launches into a detailed explanation of the asylum's dark past. He speaks of cruel treatments, electroshock therapy, ice baths, and lobotomies. He talks about the controversial doctors and the tragic stories of patients who were forgotten by society, left to rot within the asylum's walls. He hints at something more sinister. Patients who disappeared without a trace, unexplained deaths, and rumors of unethical experiments. The students exchange uneasy glances, some of them feeling a growing sense of dread. But they push it aside. It's all part of the experience. After all, a place this old is bound to have its fair share of creepy stories. Still, as they step through the rusted doors and into the asylum's main corridor, a chill runs down their spines. It's not just cold. It's like the air itself is watching them. The group moves through the asylum's desolate halls, passing rooms filled with broken furniture, shattered glass, and rusted medical equipment. Dust clings to everything, and the smell of mildew is thick in the air. The deeper they go, the quieter it becomes. The jokes and laughter that had filled the bus ride fade into nervous whispers. And that's when the strange things begin. One student swears they hear footsteps behind them, but when they turn, there's nothing. Another feels a cold breeze pass over their skin, even though the windows are sealed shut. It's as if the asylum is waking up, stretching its limbs, ready to reveal its secrets. The guide, however, remains unfazed, continuing his monotone lecture about the asylum's history as if nothing is wrong. But something is wrong, and soon they'll all realize it. As the group ventures deeper into the asylum, the strange occurrences become harder to ignore. What began as minor discomforts, whispers in the dark, shadows flickering at the edge of their vision, now grows into something more terrifying. A student lingers behind the group for just a moment and suddenly feels a cold hand on their shoulder. But when they turn, there's no one there. Another hears their name whispered, soft and urgent, but the person standing next to them insists they said nothing. The group reaches a long, narrow hallway lined with old patient rooms. The walls are peeling, and some doors hang loosely on their hinges. As they pass by, one door slams shut behind them with a loud bang. The students jump, their hearts racing, but the guide merely chuckles, calling it a draft. Some of the students laugh nervously, but the tension is palpable. Inside one of the rooms, they find old patient files scattered across the floor. Curious, a few students pick them up. At first, the files seem like typical medical records, names, dates, and diagnoses. But then, one student's hand trembles as they read a file that contains their own name, birthday, and even personal medical information that no one else should know. Others find files with details that eerily match their lives, things they've never shared, things they thought only their doctors or parents knew. Panic begins to spread. How is this possible? The files look decades old, yet they describe the students' current conditions and histories with disturbing accuracy. Fear sets in as they realize this isn't just a creepy tour. It's something far more sinister. The guide dismisses their concerns, urging them to continue the tour. But his smile no longer seems friendly. It feels like a predator's grin, something cold and calculated. Despite the growing dread, the students follow him. They don't have much choice. The group tries to leave, but when they return to the main entrance, they find the door locked. Confused, they try other exits, but every door they reach is sealed shut. The windows are bolted, and no amount of force can break them open. The asylum has trapped them inside. Suddenly, the tour guide is gone. Vanished. There's no explanation, no warning. He was there one moment and gone the next. Panic spreads like wildfire. The students call for help, but their phones have no signal. It's as if the asylum exists in a world of its own, cut off from the outside. That's when the first patient appears. Pale, gaunt, and wearing a tattered hospital gown, the figure stumbles through the hallway, muttering incoherently. At first, the students think it's an actor, a part of the tour to scare them. But then more figures appear, each one more twisted and grotesque than the last. Their faces are gaunt, their eyes hollow, and their movements are jerky, unnatural. These aren't actors. These are the ghosts of the asylum's last patients, and they're furious. The students scatter, running through the maze-like corridors, trying to find a way out. But the patients follow, their whispers growing louder, their presence suffocating. They aren't just ghosts. They're the souls of the asylum's last victims, trapped in an endless loop of suffering. And they blame anyone who enters for their torment. As the students hide in a dark room, they find an old journal filled with the scribbled notes of a long-dead doctor. The notes reveal horrifying details, experiments conducted on the patients, unethical treatments, and a terrible truth. The patients were never meant to leave. They were left here to die, abandoned by the world, and now their souls are trapped, roaming the asylum in search of vengeance. Time is running out. The students realize that the asylum is not just haunted, it's alive. The walls seem to shift. The doors they thought would lead them out take them deeper into the heart of the building. The patients grow more aggressive, no longer content with just lurking in the shadows. They reach out with cold, clammy hands, pulling at the students, whispering in their ears, trying to drag them into the dark. In their desperation, the students discover an old maintenance tunnel, a way out, hidden deep in the bowels of the asylum. But getting there means passing through the most haunted part of the building, the basement. The air grows colder, and the patients become more violent, their whispers turning into shrieks of rage. As the remaining students make a break for the tunnel, one by one, they start disappearing. Some are pulled into the dark by the vengeful spirits. Others simply vanish as if swallowed by the asylum itself. The few who remain are terrified, running for their lives, knowing they might not make it. Finally, they reach the tunnel and rush through it, their hearts pounding, desperate to escape. They emerge into the open air, gasping for breath, believing they're finally free. But as they look around, their blood runs cold. They're standing right back at the entrance of the asylum, as if they never left. The realization hits them. The asylum is a trap and no one ever truly escapes. Just as they comprehend their fate, the tour guide reappears, his smile wider, more sinister than before. "Ready for the next group?" he asks, as the cycle begins again. And that, my friends, is the story of the abandoned asylum tour. What do you think? Could the students ever escape? Or are they doomed to be part of the asylum's dark history? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this story creeped you out as much as it did me, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss any future scares. Thanks for watching, and remember, some places are better left forgotten.